Welcome to Fly Newbie and Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today's episode is going to push some boundaries as we explore some social media, sex appeal, and the pressures of women to make money online. We'll start with Brittney Renner, who recently said that she's broke and homeless after trading in her influencer lifestyle for her new faith. Then we'll look at women like Black Chyna, who made $250 million on OnlyFans before leaving that life behind to embrace Christianity, and Nala Ray, another OnlyFans star who turns away from the platform after rediscovering her faith. Now, with the rise of platforms like OnlyFans, Instagram, and social media in general, we're asking, why does sex sell so easily, but righteous living often leaves women with nothing? Why does this culture push women to use their bodies for financial gain? And what's the alternative? Now, today, I am joined by some lovely and beautiful and smart queens. We have Erica Lewis, author of Faith in Transaction. I always say transaction, don't it? It's transition. But I'm going to claim that. I'm claiming that for you. I'm claiming it. Marla Layson, TV and film producer. And Lindsay Vertner, international mindset coach and speaker. And guys, I don't even think I told you who I am. I'm Lala. I'm an international real estate agent. But we're definitely going to be talking about some things that has been around for a long time. Sex sells. So let's start by talking about Brittney. And she has now switched over to her faith. I believe she is in the Muslim faith now. And she has come on to express what she's experiencing. So let's start with that.
First of all, Allahu Akbar. I've gone through a lot of changes internally, and as a result, my outer world has completely crumbled. I'm sorry, I don't know. Whoa! Wow. Leaving me incredibly uncertain in just about every area in my life. I have no idea where I'm going to live or how I'm going to provide for my son. But Allah has moved mountains for me, and I trust that this will be no different. I feel like Alice when she ate the cookie and her feet went through the windows and she's crammed in the house like that. I've outgrown where I am. The facade is fading, alhamdulillah. And I'm at a place where I don't want anything that doesn't have my name on it. Take it away. It served no purpose here. And I don't want a penny more than I'm meant to have, because I can do a lot with a little. The facade is fading. And when the facade fades and all the BS is cleared out, it makes room for what has always been for you.
All right, queens. Now, Brittney wasn't selling explicit content, but she was still using her looks and her body to make money. So is there really a difference between influencers like her and someone on OnlyFans? I'm going to throw that to you first, Erica. Sex sales, body sale. So do you think it's a difference whether she was on OnlyFans or just using her body to bring in the income? She has a history.
She definitely has a history. I don't really think that there is much of a difference. I remember seeing her on a documentary that Coach Prime did maybe about a little over a year ago. And he actually invited her to come in. And I don't think she was aware as to what the context of her appearance would be, but she was actually talking to his team and basically said, hey, and she came in practically naked. And the players were in ooh and of awe. And she basically warned them that this is what you're going to see. This is what the women are going to look like when you or if you go pro. I'm what you watch out for. And yeah, I think there really is not a difference, because whether you're having sex for handbags or if you're getting money while you're on OnlyFans, pay is pay regardless of what you receive as a monetary, as a payment, whether it's monetary or it's a gift. In Brittney's case, I do feel bad for her. I think something happened. You can see it in her face. I don't think this was a voluntary spiritual decision. Something happened. And I don't want to speculate what it was, but you can see it in her face. This looks like two completely different women. She doesn't look happy. She's got herself, in all respect to the Islamic community, but she is covering herself up. And I know someone personally that chose Islam because of something tragic that happened to her. So I really hope that she's okay, first of all, and really can heal her spirit from whatever happened to her, because you can see it in her eyes, something tragic. She experienced something tragic that made her make this decision, or that helped her make this decision.
You bring up that, which is a very good, you hit on something really important with that. In the beginning, she had a nervous giggle. Lindsay, you noticed that. What do you think that, what kind of language does that speak to us? Was that a woosah or a worry, or it just didn't feel natural to me? It felt like it was such a heavy laughter.
Yeah, I know a lot of people on social media are saying, did you hear the way she laughed? She's loony, like she must have went crazy from that laugh. But laughter can be a form of her coping mechanism. And how I saw it is just like you said, it looked like she was coping in that moment and didn't know anything else to do but laugh, kind of like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Is this really my life? And so what you said, Erica, that makes a lot of sense with, maybe she didn't do this voluntarily. Maybe something happened to her that caused her to switch to such an extreme. Not that it's bad that she's finding religion or anything, but not necessarily that she did it of her own free will and own accord, because now here she has this nervous laughter, what appeared to me to be a more nervous laughter and a coping mechanism rather than, oh, I'm off my rocker type of thing. So definitely something to consider.
Well, it seems like it's a quick turnaround. I mean, I don't really pay attention a lot to these type of things. I'm not one of these housewife chicks or Beverly Hills chicks or none of that. I just don't like those type of shows. But I did reach in and really start researching her. And just 11 months ago, she was on Club Shay Shay. Now, everybody knows Club Shay Shay. So, Marlo, I'm going to ask you, because, you know, Club Shay Shay is where you come all, tell all, be all, say all. Do you think that something clicked for her there? Because I've actually heard people say that's when they started feeling like she's made the change.
I think I watched a little bit of her interview with Shannon Sharpe in preparation for today. I can't say that I'm out here keeping up with girls I can't identify what they do for a living. So I don't know anything about Brittney Renner. I do remember the Coach Prime thing because I follow Coach Prime and I watch his shows. But when I watched her with Shannon, she certainly did not. She was giggling through that really awkwardly. She was sipping her drink. She was very flirtatious with Shannon. So that may have been a tipping point. You know, he would say something and she'd be like, well, what are you going to do? You know, like trying to woo this man, and he, you know, is going over his head. He ain't really paying too much attention to it. He trying to get the deets out of her about Shaq and about dating other men. And the sad thing about Brittney Renner for me is when I did do a little Google search, the only thing I could find is who she's dating, right? This woman's whole contribution has been about what man's arm she's on. She has a son or a child with a basketball player. I don't know what gender the baby is, but that man has since married and is very publicly showing adoration to his wife on social media. And I don't think that their child is that old. So I think she's just going through a lot. I don't know how traumatic the experience was, or is this a traumatic experience of her own making? But I think if you look over the last probably 11 to maybe 16 months, you could probably see where this brand change was kind of started.
I want to say maybe even longer than that, because I haven't seen the Shannon Sharpe interview, but I do remember a year or two ago, I was watching her on, was it Real Housewives or Basketball? I want to say it was maybe Basketball Wives. And she was kind of going through a change then. She wasn't like she is now in this video, but she was all about, I'm trying to get myself together and I'm trying to heal, trying to do that inner work. So there's something there. And I think it's been brewing for a little bit, because before I saw her on that show, I had no clue who she was either. And even after the show, I still didn't really know who she was. Just somebody that had a baby with the star and was on the show, and she was an influencer.
That's the thing that's killing me. We're talking about like this is a normal thing now. Remember when it used to be like the fairy tales, somebody would come and pick somebody up, and now it seems like everybody and their mamas out here trying to get in these influencer streets like it's something to be proud of. And this is all the stories we end up covering, right? But listen, Black Lexicon says this is the absolute epitome of the resilience of a woman. I'm throwing that. What do you think about that, Erica? Do you think that that's a resilience of a woman?
You know, I was just thinking, and thank you, Black Lexicon, for that, because I was just sitting here thinking, you know, isn't it amazing how men can just get married and their past goes away, but women have to go extra hard to prove they're different? You know what I mean? She has to go extra hard to prove I didn't sign NDAs to have sex. I didn't sleep with someone for a flight. I didn't sleep with someone for a handbag. You know, women always have to go the extra mile to prove that they've changed.
And let me also point out that all these little platforms like OnlyFans, and they're owned by men. I ain't never heard of a woman app that allows for this. So in a way, to me, that still reminds me of a pimp situation. That's just the way that it is for me. That's what it reminds me of. Like, you can have power as a woman. You can do whatever you want to. What was the old song? I can bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan. And what is the other adage? You know, a man wants a woman in the streets and a freak in the bed. There are double standards for us women, regardless of what we do. So it shows, her situation shows that, yes, she may have been using her body and her curves to bring money in, but now that she is on the other side and she has embraced her religion, they're saying just as many bad things about her in the first place. Like, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. I mean, what do you think about that, Lindsay? I mean, regardless of what we do, we're always going to be slammed. Do you think that? How do we change that perception?
That's why it's important to do, one, what the Lord tells you to do, and two, what you want to do. Like, don't live up to the expectations of others, because they're going to talk about you regardless. If you're doing bad, they'll talk about you. If you're doing good, they'll talk about you. Anytime I find myself starting to care too much what other people think, then I'll be like, wait a minute. If they crucified Jesus and he was perfect, right, then it's okay that I'm not everybody's tea, and that's all right, because to be honest, there's a few people I'm not really fond of either, but
well, we're definitely going to keep this conversation going, but right now we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens, that's Queens, that's Queens, to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Don't you love it? So make sure you do that right now. But we're going to jump right back into this conversation, because I don't think we've ever had enough conversation about this. I always feel like there's always double standard for us. But Brittany's not the only one. Now, we talked about how Brittany was not on OnlyFans. And let's explain something. There is a difference between OnlyFans. For those who don't know, maybe you don't know what OnlyFans is. That's where a lot of people go, where they can include nudity and photos and things of that nature. And you can subscribe. So you can subscribe to them and you can get levels to what you can see for anyone on OnlyFans. It's not just for that. There are some people who do cooking and stuff like that. But when you say OnlyFans, your first thought is, I might not, I don't know if I want to see that. I got my own. I don't need to see yours. So let's roll to Blac Chyna, because Blac Chyna used to be known for her craziness, her body. She's got children with Rob Kardashian. She went through a whole change before. She had a lot of plastic surgery and things of that nature. And now she has embraced her Christianity as well. So let's bring her up and talk about her journey.
So I want to switch gears a bit.
Okay.
You also deactivated your OnlyFans account.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that was the source of a lot of your money. And I want to just clear this up right now because there is a $239 million discrepancy right now going on.
I've seen it.
You have. So April 2022, you said you made $1 million from it in 2021. But now I'm seeing reports that are saying 240 million. What's the actual number?
The actual number, it was close to 2 million within a 2-year span.
2 million.
So I opened it in 2020. So right when the pandemic had hit, I had opened it because I was like, oh my gosh, like what's about to happen? And I had just recently did a TV show called OnlyCams where I produced it and filmed on it just a little bit. So it kind of like gave me the leeway to kind of doing it because it was something that I didn't want to do at first. But at the time I had so many lawsuits and so many things that I was dealing with. Aside from that, I'm like, I got to figure out how can I like continue to have like my house, take care of my kids, do everything I need to do. So that's why I started the OnlyFans. But I definitely, let's clear this up. I definitely did not make 240 million.
Okay.
I definitely did it.
She did not make 240 million, you guys.
I did not.
So I know a major part of that, as you said, was to provide for your kids and kind of keep up that standard of living that they're accustomed to.
Yes.
How do you plan on doing that going forward?
I'm letting faith lead me, honestly. And it's been really good.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even worrying about like where is like my next deal or where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? I'm just going to put my right foot in front of my left and my left foot in front of my right and keep it pushing.
That says a lot. First of all, she didn't say thousands, y'all. She said 200 million from 2020 in a 2-year period. So Marlo, do you think that she's reclaiming her dignity because she has now embraced her Christianity? She's taken out all of her fillers on her face. She's gone natural. And if you ask me, this is my personal opinion, I think she looks better and she seems better spiritually in her speaking. But do you think she's reclaiming her dignity or did she just get tired of the hustle?
I think it could be more than one thing at once, right? I think that she is probably tired of the hustle. To make a lot of money online, y'all, content has to be pumping every day, especially. So I'll let y'all in because y'all are family. Let y'all in on a little secret. I was doing some research a couple of years before the pandemic hit, before the OnlyFans, and I would go into some of these cam rooms because I was developing a script about a cam girl and I didn't know anything about this world. So what I will say is that there's a lot of stuff that's going on that y'all don't want to know. Like these men are making demands. People are in the chat saying all kinds of stuff. It's a lot for that, right? But then you don't make a lot of money. There's not a lot of money to be made in that way. OnlyFans is different because it has subscribers. But I will say, like, I think we got to know Blac Chyna because of Drake and all the rappers talking about the strip club. She was one of the strippers. I don't know what club she comes from, but that all the rappers were talking about. So that's how we got to know this girl, is through her body. She went through the whole process of the fillers and all of this stuff. But the truth is Blac Chyna's mother was also a porn star, right? So Blac Chyna is the emulation of Tokyo Toni. And I think that she is in the place where women find themselves when they use their body to make money, is they go back to Jesus. And you need to calm down and you need to center yourself and you need to find out where you are. So I think that it could be twofold. I think she could be tired of the life. I think that Tokyo Toni is exhausting, and her coming and being her own internet personality, it kind of makes Angela step back and see who she is, right? Because before she got clean, they were very, very similar. And so I think that it could be a many-factored reason why she has chosen not to do this. And I think that whatever the reason is, I congratulate all of them. I congratulate every woman who decides making money on my back is not the only way that I can make money, or that I want to lead a life that is dignified and not have people eye me by what I do for a living or my body parts or, clapping my cheeks. Like, bravo, girl. We could see the front of your face and not the back of your ass. I'm happy for you if that's truly what you want.
I have to agree. We all have to make our own decisions in life. And at some point you have to not worry about what other people are saying. So I'm always very cautious to say something negative about someone, because you don't know what their struggles are and you don't know what they go through in their shoes. Now, Big Mac said there's a double standard, but she really messed up, meaning Blac Chyna. And Erica, do you believe that she's messed up her life and that now no man really wants to make her his wife?
What tends to happen is when women are publicly, in the limelight, dating these high profile men, and then they want to, return to, being regular folk. The UPS guy is going to look at you and say, well, I saw you dated this guy, you dated that guy, you were doing this, you were at these parties, you were at that party, I saw you on this magazine, I saw you on that magazine, I saw your book cover. She also has a book. And it's yeah, I think he's right. It is hard for those women to, find a man that is willing to marry them, to look beyond all of what has been seen and what they've shown to the world. But there's one thing that I really want to say, that there's similarities between Brittany and Blac Chyna, is they both said the same thing. I have to do what I have to do to take care of my kids. And these are women that have children with high profile men. And this says a lot, that if you have to figure out a way and do what you have to do and literally fall on your face and pray to God, I'm going to turn away from this and face you, follow the Lord, follow this religion, follow this faith, and help me take care of my children. This says a lot about the men that they're sleeping with. It says so much. You are reproducing children. And this goes back to what I said time and time again. We have got to be more careful and more aware of who we are extending lineage for. You cannot, just because this man is worth $500 million does not mean ethically he's worth 5 cents. So you have to be careful about who you're laying down with and who you're procreating with, because this could ultimately be the outcome.
I agree. Now I'm going to share something with all of you guys. I actually was a community manager for a live streaming company. And I was to come in and to watch over the broadcasters who were brought on this platform. They were paid to be on the platform, but anything that they earned, they got to earn for themselves. And since it was a new platform, they brought in a modeling agency from Los Angeles. Well, this modeling agency had a different view of things. And so the fact that I had to fight these girls to keep their clothes on was so stressful to me, because they wanted them views. They wanted those views. They wanted that money. We want. And baby girls was making more than I was. 4 times more as the community manager, and I'm the one going through the stress. So it's really interesting how our world centers around what they want to see and what they want in their lives. And these girls were 18, 19, 20 years old, already out here in these streets, internet streets, trying to get the money. And this is something that we have to really think about. What kind of messages were they getting at home? You said that Blac Chyna's mom was involved in the life as well. So what did that teach her? And look at the fact that now Chyna had to go on her own journey to get to the point where she is today, which I do commend her for that, guys. She even actually had her tattoos, a lot of her tattoos removed, that she says was demonic. The famous Kat Von something from Hollywood, the tattoo artist, also has turned to Christianity. That says a lot. I think these are all the people around the same age. So it's really interesting to see this happening, and we're seeing both sides of it at one time. So when we come back from this break, we're going to continue this conversation, and I'm sure that we have some really good things to discuss with you. So stay tuned.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. FlyNubianMoney.com.
On and head on over there to that website. We got all sorts of resources. Lindsay, do you think social media has created an unrealistic expectation for women and that it makes them feel like they need to sell themselves and their sex appeal to succeed? And how do we change that? Because let's face it, guys, our children, even though they have age limits on these social media things, our children are still on there. And there are some people pimping their kids out to grow their social media. So how do we change this?
Yeah, absolutely. Social media has something to do with it, because if we think back in the times, we couldn't even see a man and a woman sleeping together on TV. And now that's not only do we see them sleeping together, we basically can watch a porn without turning on some porno. It's like, wait, what? Am I supposed to be watching a movie? Or, because last I checked, I don't have an OnlyFans account. So like, why are you showing all this? We have to be willing to be mindful of the things we are consuming for ourselves. And especially if we have families, just really, obviously we can't, enforce everything. We got to expose them to the world, but we still can limit the things that they are exposed to and try to counteract as much as possible the sexuality that they're exposed to. Because in today's society, not only are we sexualized as women, but Black women specifically are hypersexualized. So that's all that they see. They click on social media, big booby, BBLs, big boobies too. I never had that problem, but that's all that we see. And so that's what a lot of people feel like they have to do to make a name for themselves or to earn a living. And we really just have to start to work together as a community and shift that mindset around and say, no, I will not over sexualize myself or sexualize myself, period.
It's funny that you brought that up, because I will share this, because I will not, it doesn't bother me to share. I did have the big boobies, and they were so bad to me that my back was hurting and I had a reduction. I can't see how these women run around here with these things. And I'm just so happy that I did that. It was a good choice for me.
Listen, I've been walking around with these hips and thighs my whole life, and I can't begin to tell you all the adjectives that I was called. And now to see people going to purchase this, I am mind boggled. And then it doesn't match. How you got an 80-inch behind and you got, toothpick for legs? What is going on? I am mind boggled by it all. It's crazy.
I never forget, I was 12 and I developed overnight. All my friends developed long before I did, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, I had them. And I never will forget, I was 13 years old, just going into a store, and this old man said some very vile things to me. And it just took me into a whole different world, trying to adjust myself in that body and trying to hide it. I never tried to show it off. I tried to tie them things down. I'm just going to be real honest about it. But Marlo, Black Lexicon says that Chyna and Brittany may very well become good wives. They have been through the fire, both financially and sexually, and had the strength to turn away a man's greatest desire for his woman. Do you see how this could be a possible plus for these women?
I think anybody is redeemable, right? If you want to come back, if you want to be renewed and changed, you can make those changes for yourself. I think that for these women, they're going to have to meet men who don't know them, right? They're going to have to meet men who've never heard of Brittney Renner, who've never heard of Blac Chyna before, so that they can ease who they were into that relationship in a meaningful way. But first, they're going to have to be who they want to be, right? That's who that man is going to have to see. And I think that there's like cultures, right? We've seen Black features not be in style all the way to their in style, these fillers and all of this stuff is growing pains for these young women. And I think that if they are being authentically a new self, have at it, girls. Welcome to the boring side of life where, we keep our pants on and don't show our ass cracks.
Baby, I remember when at church, if you wore a skirt too short, they put that prayer cloth over your knees. Okay. Like this is what I grew up with. Like that's how I grew up with. You were very mindful. And even when things were low cut or a little low cut, my mama would come in and sew a handkerchief in a heartbeat. Okay. So what I grew up was is very different from what I was seeing. But then again, I have to share with y'all. So I also was so fascinated with groups like Vanity Six. I am a huge Prince fan. I was 8 years old and fell in love with his first album. So I was a Prince fan long before Vanity Six came along. But when Vanity Six came along, I wanted to be one of those girls too. So even though I hid that from mama said I could have that poster that had to stay on the back of the door. That couldn't go where nobody else could see it. But how do you balance this? How do you balance this for our children? Lindsay, how do you think that we can balance this to show that your worth is not your body and that society is showing them that it is?
Yeah, I think that comes into we just have to pour into them as much as possible because we can't control what's on the TV. Well, if we collectively gathered together, we could. And if we said we are going to watch this and hit them where their pockets are, then we could. But are we really going to do that? As of right now, I don't see that happening. So we can't control, with that statement being said, what is shown on TV, what's shown on social media, what's shown outside of your household. And we also can't, seclude them and keep them covered only to our household. So we have to do as much pouring into them as possible, try to be the example because kids are going to do what you do more than they'll do what you say. So try to lead by example and try to find other people that are along that same mind frame. Not that you want to surround yourself with the same all the time. It's good to have a diverse group of opinions and backgrounds and all of those things, but you get what I mean. Just try to find other people who will do the same and are on that same trajectory as you as well, because we have to go back to taking a village to raise a kid. Shoot, it takes a village to raise an adult. We all need each other as a child and even as adults. So we've got to create that village like we used to.
I grew up in a village, and I tell you what, when I was a kid and growing up in the country, I thought to myself, I can't wait to get up out of here. And then when I got grown, I was like, I can't wait to go back. Because I had that village. I had so many aunties, so many uncles that if I got in trouble, mind you, only had one whipping in my whole life, but if I got in trouble, all of my aunties would be on me in a heartbeat before I even got home. And then when I got home, I would get it again.
You know, Mama, that is critical right there, what you said, because I think what happens is when these young ladies step out of the protection, when they step out, like it appears that these ladies have had, religious backgrounds before or had their faith before. And when you get out of the protection and get out of that covering and you go into the wilderness and you enter into the dark, there's a shame that comes with that. And they're afraid to turn around and go back and say, I need help. And that's how they get deeper into the abyss of the sin. I grew up as a PK. I have seen it. My mother was in the entertainment industry. And then when my parents divorced, my mother was a minister. So I've seen both sides of the coin. I've heard stories on both sides. So, once they get out of the fold and they get from underneath that covering, it's like, okay, you wanted to see what it was like. And then they get into it and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And it takes so much more to get out of it than it did to get into it. And I don't think a lot of young people realize that when you walk away from that covering, it is so harder to get out of that dark than it is, to stay where you are.
I totally agree, which, let's talk about the money of it, right? We have so many options nowadays outside of showing our bodies to build businesses. I think we should show our children that they can start early. I have a friend who actually started her child's business selling children's bows when she was 4 years old and put her out there and helped her show her how to do it. And then now she's 10 years old and she's making really good money with her bows. But we also can help you. We can help you as well. So we're going to take this quick commercial break and then we're going to talk about the financial aspects.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
All right. Now listen. Our producer actually said, if you need help with your business, we do talk about a lot of things here about business and building your money. This is why we push this all the time, because you don't have to sell your soul or your body to make this money that people are talking about. You may not be making 200 million, but you surely can get by with maybe one. So how can women navigate financial independence without relying on adult content or exploitation?
I think one, you got to know who you are. Let me back up. There are some women that want to engage in this, and that's their thing, right? Some women, they've made a choice. If you've made a choice, grand for you. Teach somebody else the game that also wants to make that choice. But for women, I don't think that Blac Chyna, I don't think that she wanted this to be her life. I think she got swept up in the world of Kardashians and rappers and ball players and people that pay you high amounts of dollars to wiggle your butt. And I think that money came so fast. If you look at yourself, you're 26 years old, you have no life skills, you never been to school, you hated high school. What are you going to do, right? So I would say the most important thing in terms of us not even getting our young daughters turned out in this way is to identify what they're good at early. Identify what it is that they like early and help them navigate that. Help them understand what that is. Give them the tools that they need. Maybe they're not entrepreneurs, right? But maybe they're voracious readers. Get them books. Like, really tap into what your kids like, because what happens is they see the clap, clap, booty clap, and everybody gives that attention, and kids want attention. So they're going to do what they see already works as an attention getter. If their science project doesn't interest you and you push them away, they re-rig some kind of little thing electronically, and you don't get jazzed about that, but the cousin that knows how to clap, clap, booty clap, and she know all the words to Sexy Red and she gets attention, what you think that the young scientist is going to do? We have to show kids what we value, and what we've shown them is that we value BBLs. We value face alterations. We value bags and money. We value everything except what is intrinsically within them that's good, right? And so they just leaning into what we say we like. Girls are just leaning into what men are double tapping on social media. Everybody's watching these girls pop up. Sukihana, who is she? What does she do? I don't know. Sometimes she crawled around like a dog. Somebody had her on a leash. I see she go talk to Dr. Umar and she know how to put on a long dress. Like, I'm very confused by all of these people, but I also think that we as a society, they're mirroring what we are saying is acceptable and good. And as long as you're making your money, that's what we say. As long as you getting your bag, that's what we value. So we have to value something that the ends of getting the bag and not just the bag on the end. And that's what
it's really interesting. I ended up going down, I get insomnia a lot, so I end up going down the rabbit hole. And I got into a rabbit hole on Saturday night because I love to make me happy. I watch babies and pets. They make me happy. But somehow I got on this strip of social media where these babies were doing adult things and popping it and showing, oh, she's so cute. Look at her. She's 2. Had that been me coming up, my little butt would have been popped with a switch that I had to go get off of the tree. All right. So it starts at home. It definitely starts at home with what your values are. If you're encouraging it of your children, of course, they're going to turn around and do the things that they're feeling encouraged to do. And I just have a problem with that. I always tell people it ain't cute. It ain't cute and it's not funny. What are you going to say when they're 16, 17, 18 on the stripper pole? Oh, it's still cute. I shall digress with that. But let's look at another person who has turned away from OnlyFans and has kind of turned the game around for her. She has some really good points. So let's talk about it after we watch this.
The ones who are glamorizing it are men trying to run women's lives and take a percentage out of it. And it's horrifying. It's truly horrifying to be like a woman and have men take a percentage of you showing your body on the internet. It's just like having a pimp. That's exactly what it's like. It's like an online pimp. So it's truly horrific that it's being advertised in that manner, but it makes me want to fight all the more to help women understand that this is not where you want to go. I could have definitely been stopped. I was in such a vulnerable place in my heart and my mind, feeling so unworthy. I started looking at my decisions that I had made. And then when I see stuff like that podcast, I feel so shameful and so embarrassed because I'm like, man, I don't even recognize that person. I met my partner in October. We met on TikTok, and he is actually like a devout Christian. And so at the time, I'm still living in California. But what happened was, honestly, it was crazy. So he started like praying over me and like sending me Bible verses. This crazy thing happened where in December I was just like reaching out to God and I was like, wow, God, like my life is a mess. I feel so lonely. I feel like this is not what I should be doing with my life. And just a crazy thing happened. And like I ended up getting saved and getting baptized in, I believe, later December. And I can't even tell you how much my life has changed since then. And then now being able to, I've had girls be like, dude, you were in way deeper than I am right now. And I feel like I want to get off. How do I do that? If you're like thinking about this or you're being influenced by this kind of industry, there's a really good chance that something's going on in your life that is making you look at this like an option. My whole team deleted everything off of it. So there's just always those people, and I'm only saying that because there's people like, oh, it's still up, she's lying. I'm like, if you want to open it up right now, there's literally nothing on it for you to see unless you want to look at a white screen. I posted a Christian video because I'm waiting on the tax documents, and if I don't have anything in there, they can completely like delete the account while I'm waiting on the paperwork. I really do care what God says about me, and that's it. But if I can help as many people along the way as possible get off or just don't even begin, like, let's go.
That's pretty powerful, y'all. That's her testimony. I always say everybody has testimony, whether you are a believer or not. Something in your life you have gone through to be a testimony about, and clearly, she is speaking about her testimony and encouraging young ladies not to go down that path. And her name is Nala Ray. But Erica, do you think that there's a stigma around traditional jobs compared to the quick cash of platforms like OnlyFans?
I think this generation is just lazy. I employ them. They are lazy. They feel like their paycheck should just be their paycheck, whether they show up for work or not. And unfortunately, while OnlyFans does require work, you do have to show up on the screen. However, it doesn't require you to use any thought process. You just kind of go along with your life. You gyrate, you do whatever it is. You're showing tops, bottoms, or whatever, your lifestyle. But it really does not require a lot of skill. It really just does not. I think the hardest thing would be probably in developing the OnlyFans page. I think that's the hardest part. I mean, but I really think that this generation is really just lost when it comes to, getting out here and just going to work and having to think and communicate. The social piece is gone. Social media has taken that away, where people don't have to be face to face and have a conversation with people. Everything is done over a phone via text. Nobody wants to talk to anybody anymore. So now they're being pulled out of having to communicate with people, and they're just in front of a camera, which is detrimental. Another thing I think that's happening, especially with OnlyFans, is they get addicted to the attention. It is a form of addiction. People think addiction is just, alcohol, food, drugs or whatever. No, attention is an addiction. You want that attention, people will do anything for it. And then it starts to generate money. And I don't even think these people even consider the money so much as it does the attention. Oh, so-and-so's on. I've got to do that split for him. Oh, so-and-so's here. I promised him I would do a backflip and do such and such on top of my head. So with them being addicted to the attention, they're going so far to please and give of themselves. When you start pouring out the cup of your soul and it's empty, these people are not concerned about pouring it back in. They paid for a service, they got what they wanted, and now they're moving on to the next person that wants attention.
Now, let me tell you something. You just hit on something that just gave me shakes, because a lot of those young ladies I told you about on that platform where I was community manager would say to them, like, there was an aerobatic chick and she was so talented, and I really wanted to encourage her. I was like, yes, you're doing great stuff. You're doing the stuff like Cirque du Soleil. She was excellent, but she also had a big bottom. All right. And she knew what would bring in money for her. So she would literally come on and say, I'll do the splits on the pole if I get 10,000 gifts today. And honey, them things would go popping up like that. Every time she wanted a raise or want to win a contest, she would say, for every such and such, I will do a split for you. I will turn around and do an aerial for you. And when she did the aerial, it was a different kind of aerial. Okay.
And what people don't realize is once they start doing that, it's like, okay, well, I want to see more. Now you got to do more. And then there's more. And then there's more. It never ends until you are morally depleted, until it's gone. Right. And now you're doing anything. And then I think there is an epiphany where you wake up and go, wait a minute, who am I? Especially when you have children, especially when, your parents are still around. I mean, there's a lot of things I would love to do. And then, at 51 years old, I still think, ooh, what would my mama say? We did the After Dark the other night, and I said, Lord, I hope my mama don't log in and watch, because Jesus, hope my mama don't see me. But, and I'm 51 years old. These young people, 23, they don't care. They just don't care.
I think that
Go ahead, Marla.
I think that's part of it is shame, right? Like, I think that there was a community that held us accountable when we were being raised. There were aunts, uncles, aunties, cousins, people who had expectations of us. I'm from the home of twerking, y'all. When I was a little girl in New Orleans, 1990, 91, 92, 93, everything that people doing now on a handstand, all of that, we've been doing that. It's not new. It's very old hat to us. But because of the types of men that I had in my family, certain things weren't going to fly at the DJ. Certain positions for me weren't going to fly at the DJ. And I've held on to that. I've held on to my cousins and all of them pushing me on the ground, or standing in front of me and giving me a scowl and pointing toward the house where I needed to go back to, right? Because I was doing too much. And I think that we don't have that anymore. People aren't holding cousins responsible. They're not holding family members. They just, girl, that's Suki. You know how Suki act? And we just okay with people doing anything, right? And one thing begets another. So when there aren't those fail safes in the collective mindset, and the only thing, money is the master, right? Because it goes back to money. If you will do anything for money, you'll do anything for money. Whether that means you're going to show how your flower opens all the way up, or you going to dead somebody down to the ground for $1. If you will do anything for money, you will do anything for money. And I think that that's really at the crux of this, is people realizing that money isn't satisfying. All of those bags not satisfying. All of those shoes not satisfying, because at the end of the day, when it's just you in the mirror and the nudity, you feel empty. And none of that stuff is giving you what you need to feel whole. And I think that That's what we're hearing from these women. And they're just replacing one form of attention with another. And maybe in 20 years, they won't even be so high on Jesus anymore. But they need something to make them feel whole. And, you know, they thought that it was going to come in the form of what people say about their bodies. But that's empty, right? What have you accomplished and what have you done? And I think that that's what a lot of them are now grappling with.
Well, my mother always said the pendulum always swings. Whatever you were so involved with, you know, when things start shifting in your life, you may swing all the way over for a while before you feel balanced in the middle. And I think that is very important. But Erica, you said parents. Marlo, you said your community. And Big Mac says that no respectful father is going to allow his daughter to go down that street. Lindsay, do you think that a father's word also is extremely valuable? And I don't know if very many of these women that we've talked about today had their fathers in their life, but I do think that last one, Nala, is a daughter of a pastor. So that didn't stop her. So do you think that it makes a big deal if it's the men in our lives?
See, there's with that point and with what Marlo said, there's actually a couple points that I wanted to pull out, but it doesn't matter if somebody wants to do something, they're going to do it, because there are people that have came from very healthy homes, I should say, and they have made their own choices. Like, of course, a respectful father would not want their daughter to do this, but at the end of the day, once your daughter is an adult, she is going to make her own decisions, whether you want her to do it or not. All we can do is guide them, which brings me back to the point of being a village. And for those of you like me that believe in Christ, it goes back to biblical. And I know there's a lot of church hurt out there, and, you know, we can't take what everybody says at face value, because if we really study the word, then we know that one, these women plus everybody else are redeemable because God said so. We know that two, we are to correct our brother when they're doing wrong. We're to help each other. So if you see somebody out there and they're like, not about the right, be like, hey, yo, what are you doing? That wasn't about the right. Come on. I mean, I can't force you. I'm just planting the seed that you shouldn't be doing that. Like Marlo said, how her cousins were saying, you're doing too much now. You're doing too much. Get it together. Pull it back in. And then 3, we have to testify our experiences. So I kudos to all 3 of these women for sharing what they've been through and where they are going now, because shame is a trick of the enemy. And he wants to use shame to keep us hidden, to keep us in the darkness, because he doesn't want us walking in our God-given purpose. So he's going to want us to feel shame and feel guilty and feel bad for the things that we have done. But if we remember that we're redeemable and if we give voice to the things that we have gone through, then we start to quiet that shame and we tell the enemy to shut up, and then we can pull ourselves out of it. And when we pull ourselves out of it, we can pull other people out of it, i.e. help our brothers. So that's why we have to study the word for ourselves and get a true understanding and return to that village.
You know, so we've talked about some things that, you know, we've talked about how people have turned, what we expect, what they see socially. But I actually want to also give some solutions, because every last woman on this panel has a side hustle or their own business or something that we are doing to help grow ourselves and to help others. So I want to now talk about some realistic side hustles or business ideas for women who want to earn money ethically. And by the way, before we move into this, we do have many resources for you as well. All you have to do is go to our website, flynubianmoney.com. We have got a lot of resources there. We've got a lot of classes, free things for you to look at so that you can get your money right and your money tight. So we're not here just barking and preaching at you. We're actually helping to encourage you and show you there are ethical and great ways to earn extra money. So I'm going to start with you, Erica, because you're an author. What do you have that you can share with people? And then give us your final thoughts and where we can find you.
The one thing that I've always been is I was a recording artist. I've done television. I've done a lot. But the one thing that I maintained is being a writer. It's the first thing that I fell in love with other than dance. But I fell in love with writing, and I've been writing since I was about 10 years old. And I tell young women, I'm doing public speaking, and I always find myself around younger women, 25 to 35. And I said, you know what? Tell your story. People want to hear stories. As Lindsay said, don't hide behind your shame. Your testimony, that could be your $1 million. Your truth could be your $1 million. Your truth will set you free, and it could make you financially free as well. So tell your story. If writing isn't your thing, record it. Find someone that can ghostwrite it for you, that can put the words to paper and make it sound right for you. But tell your story. Do not continue to fall down the pits of hell and dragging yourself into more and more of the abyss, and you can't get out. There is a way out. If you got yourself down there, you can get yourself out. Just know sometimes when you separate yourself, you are going to leave people along the wayside. Those people that were down you with the abyss, when you come into the light, they may not be ready. So they may be blinded by the light, and that's okay. You took that journey to the abyss alone, and you're going to have to take that journey to the light by yourself as well. My name is Erica Lewis. I am the author of Faith in Transition. Yes, so you can find me at faithintransition.com or on all socials at Miss Erica Renee.
Thank you, Erica. Please make sure that you go and check her out. And Marlo, I'm going to ask you the same question, throwing you the same question. What do you have to tell people that they can earn ethically? Where can they go? And your final thoughts and where we can find you.
I would say always be a lifelong learner. A lot of the things that I do on the side are because I've learned and mastered them in other jobs, right? So social media analytics, understanding data, all of those things that I've learned, I've done it through other endeavors. So always be learning, always understand what your passion is and move toward that. If you are doing something because you love to do it, it's never going to feel like work to you. If you wake up and you hate doing it, that's not something that you should be doing, even if you're going to get a Birkin bag at the end. I would say to young women, especially, whatever the wave is now, something else is going to be the wave tomorrow. You don't have to ride the wave, especially if you're not a great, strong swimmer, right? Because you could drown. So I want you to think about a life that is a life worthy of you living. You don't have to move when everybody else moves. You don't have to be doing the things that everybody else, because 9 times out of 10, the crowd is on some F nonsense, right? I try not to cuss too much for y'all because I could really go in on this, but just be yourself and love yourself and look in the mirror and love you. And regardless of how much you have in your bank account, if you are full on the inside, that's really all you need, sis, because these markets could crash any day and you be penniless and you ain't got no self-worth. And that sounds like a terrible life to me. If you're looking for me, I create content under my name, Marlo Layson. I write for news, specifically in Louisiana, but issues that affect Black people, Southern people, American people, all the people. And you can find me on Instagram. My name is Ola Marlo. That is my first name backward forward with a little underscore on the end. And that's it for me.
I love it. I love your social media name. I love it. I think that's great. Lindsay, I'm throwing that question to you. What can we do? What can people do that you know of can earn a little extra money? And what are your final thoughts and where we can find you?
My final thoughts, one thing that I noticed as I was watching the Brittany video is that it felt more like she has no money. I don't know what she did with her previous money. Maybe she wasn't really making any. I don't know. I don't count wallets. But what it seems like is she doesn't know how to make money because she doesn't know who she is and what she can do outside of the things that she's already done. So what I would suggest to everyone is that if you're in a space where you're struggling to just really figure out who you are, remove all of the noise. Take some time for solitude. Don't hang out with people for a little bit, but go back to your childhood. Like, what were things that you loved to do as a child that brought you joy and that maybe you've forgotten about? Find something where you can really just get in tune with yourself and sit there. Like, don't be afraid of the silence that may be surrounding you. Don't be afraid of the things that pop into your mind or anything like that, but just figure out who you are and try different things. It's never too late. As long as we are breathing, we have another opportunity for change. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or 86. If you have breath, you have the ability to make a change in your life. So take the time to figure out and try new things, because you never know what you might find. So my name is Lindsay Vertner. I'm a mindset expert, and you can find me at liveafirstclasslife.com. Lots of personal development things. You'll find links to my YouTube, to my books and my lifestyle products. If you are about just self-improvement, that is what it's all about, helping you to create your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness.
Great advice. And here's my advice. Listen, you're good at something. I don't care if it's your grandma's buttercream cake. If that's what you are good at and you can sell that buttercream cake to your neighbors and your church and your Rotary Club, then that's how you can do it. You know how to do it. Grandma showed you how. She gave you the tools. So even if it's just, if you feel like, I don't know how to do that, but I got this cake, then you have a skill, and that skill someone wants. So make sure you tap into what you love. Me, when I needed extra money, I sing. I used to go to nursing homes, y'all, sing at the nursing homes. I charged $120 for an hour worth of songs that I sang, 30s, 40s, 50s tunes, to people who loved that music. I tapped into my talent, and I tapped into what was supposed to be my life purpose. So tap into yours. And you can find me at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. And as always, guys, the conversation doesn't end here. We need to start thinking about how we can show the next generation of women that they have options and that they can build a business, create a brand, or find other ways to make money without feeling like they need to sell their image or their bodies. I want to take this time to thank our queens, Lindsay, Marlo, and Erica, for bringing the heat and digging deep with me. And thank you for everyone in the chat who's joining the conversation and keeping it real with us. Don't forget, you can go to our website at flynubianmoney.com to get some free resources to start your business journey and earn some extra side hustles. We actually had a show on side hustles, so make sure you go back and watch that too. But we'll be back again tomorrow at 1 p.m. So make sure that you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948 to get updates when we go live. And don't forget, if you catch Fly Nubian Money on Spotify, make sure you give us 5 stars over there and follow us there. Stay blessed, stay informed, and keep mastering your mindset and maximizing your money. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Bye.